Hello, it's Jim Hutchens for the Jerusalem Connection Spot Report for this week. I want to consider the issue, the question of why President Obama is so hostile, why he has such contempt, such hate, actually, for Prime Minister Netanyahu. And I would suggest there are three reasons for that. First has to do with the fact that he was raised as a child under the Islamic faith. And as we know, Islam is committed, it's in their DNA to have a hatred, a bigotry toward the Jews. And religious educators tell us if they can have a child till they're 4 years old, that they will own them. So that influence was implanted early. Secondly, the president was under the leadership, the mentorship, the tutorship, if you will, of one Bill Ayers. While he was being groomed for leadership in the Illinois Congress and then for the United States Senate. And Bill Ayers was a committed, and I assume still is, a committed Marxist. He was the head of the Weather Underground in the 60s, the 70s. And they were involved in bombing police stations, bombing the Pentagon. They were against the Vietnam War, supposedly. There were people killed as a result of that, and Ayers has never been held accountable for it. But it was under his influence that President Obama grew in his understanding of political life and how to maneuver within the political world. But thirdly, and I think probably most important, has to do with the whole issue of supersessionism or replacement theology. Supersessionism says this, that the covenant that Abraham made with or that God made with Abraham and his descendants is no longer valid because his descendants rejected Jesus. Because of that, God has rejected the Jews. And the Christians and the church now are the expression of, they are the covenant people of God. That's supersession, that the church supersedes Israel as the covenant people of God. And this has been going on since the first century. The Catholic Church is part of the Catholic Church doctrine even today. It's part of the mainline Protestants and the Presbyterian Church, the Methodist Church, the Episcopal Church, Lutheran Church. Replacement theology, supersessionism, is at the core of it. Even Hitler said this in his Mein Kampf. In his magnum opus, Hitler says, "Hence today I believe that I'm acting in accordance with the will of Almighty Creator. By defending myself against the Jew, I am fighting for the work of the Lord." Now, supersessionism is alive and well today. And one of the places that it's alive and well is the United Church of Christ. And Jeremiah Wright, a pastor, he was the pastor emeritus of Trinity United Church of Christ, where the president spent some 20 years, had two of his children baptized there. And Jeremiah Wright is the epitome of an anti-Semite. It's out of supersessionism, this dim, dark past of supersessionism, that has emerged the monster, the grotesque monster of anti-Semitism, Christian anti-Semitism, especially over the centuries. And it's alive and well today. It's alive and well in the United Church of Christ. It's alive and well in the ministry, former ministry of Jeremiah Wright. And that had to have a huge impact on President Obama. The scriptures say this in contradiction of supersessionism. Romans chapter 11, verse 1. I say then, has God cast away his people, as supersessionism advocates? Certainly not, for I am an Israelite, Paul says. I am the seed of Abraham of the tribe of Benjamin. Verse 11, he says, I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? That is the Jews. Have they been rejected? That's what he's asking. Certainly not. But through their fall, to provoke them to jealousy, salvation has come to the Gentiles. But finally, verse 25, for I do not desire, brethren, that you should be ignorant of this mystery, lest you should be wise in your own conceits, that blindness in part has happened unto Israel until the fullness of the Gentiles come in. And so all Israel will be saved. There is coming a day in the future where Israel will indeed acknowledge their Messiah. A remnant, not all, but a remnant. And they will be called all Israel of God at that time. So why is Obama hostile? Why does he hate Netanyahu? I would suggest to you, basically, it's because of the core of an anti-Semitic belief that he's been exposed to since birth and is a part of his belief system today. Obama hates Netanyahu because he's basically anti-Semitic. Till next week, Od Ki Yavo Shiloh, or until Messiah comes, Yivarech Yahweh. God bless you. God bless yours.